Good afternoon, welcome back ladies, gents and Pikachus. A little update on the war situation with the IRGC, the Islamic army centred in Iran and Syria, and their attacks on the West, America, Britain and Europe. Most specifically, we're going to be talking about America. And the reason is because Trump and the Ayatollah's Twitter account, whether it's really him, we don't know, but the Ayatollah's Twitter account and Trump have been having a little one-on-one, firing each other kind of sarcastic, argumentative comments. And it turns out that the Ayatollah has put a fatwa on Donald Trump. So he has declared war openly on America by saying all Muslims now have the obligation to murder Donald Trump, and then if they make it back to an Arab country, they'll be treated as a hero, rewarded with large amounts of money and elevated into the position of a top imam for having done the jihad against such a prominent figure. So this obviously didn't go down very well with the Donald. And he has been making several comments about how if Iran don't back down from their threats, they might well see a second wave of B-2 bombers and high payload MOPs, big bunker penetrating bombs. So I would just like to remind everyone, because I've done lots of videos on this and they've run to hours, I don't expect everyone to watch all of those. We have been expecting this for many, many years. They have been planning this for many, many years, and they knew they were going to be in this specific position, okay? It's not like Iran feel like this is a loss to them, it's not. This is exactly how they planned things. They planned to be initially wiped out, even though it sounds ridiculous and insane, which it is. That's what they knew was going to happen. They knew that the majority of their ground forces were going to be wiped out. They knew Israel were going to have air superiority. They knew that America was going to come in with backup and drop buster bunkers on them and destroy their nuclear facilities. So, because they knew this was coming, they moved a large segment of their army into Europe under the guise of Islamic asylum seekers and into Northern America. And these guys are sleeper agents. They've just been pretending to be Americans or British or European citizens and just getting along with their day, just going to the mosque claiming that they're doing nothing wrong. And it's going to take one phone call or a text message to get them active. And they will be fighting the jihad as if they are professional soldiers. They are professional soldiers, if you like, of the Islamic Republican Guard. So I wanted to give you a warning of what I think is going to happen, what the effect is going to be for you, especially in America, with regard to what we have coming up in the next few months. So first of all, I'm going to take you through some data from the government. We're going to start with that to see why they would do this particular attack, which I'm going to predict, and what you can do about it. To start with, this is a map of the significant wildland fire potential outlook from July to August this year, and this is from the Predictive Fire Prevention and Disaster Recovery Service. So it's a government agency whose entire remit, millions of dollars are spent, thousands of employees, in order to prevent disasters based around fire. So considering the drought season is just about to start from the end of July to the end of August, these areas painted in red are the areas which are going to be worst affected by the drought season. And what that means is there's going to be virtually no rainfall over those areas, and groundwater support from reservoirs and such are going to be extremely limited. So as you can imagine, this is something that happens every year, so a lot of people feel like they're prepared for this. They feel like this isn't going to affect them. And the reason is because daddy government usually will help them out by increasing reservoir support services for those areas, or transporting in large amounts of water, flying over with planes and dumping water on affected areas, and having the fire support services, firefighters and such, on call, collected near those areas, ready to jump into action and put out any fires. However, if you've been watching the news, you will know IRGC sleeper agents, that is Islamic terrorists who were living in America posing as normal natural citizens, have been ambushing fire services by setting alight to things and then retreating to a nearby forest with sniper rifles, waiting for the firefighters to turn up and shooting them dead. 2 were killed yesterday, 1 was killed today, 1 still in a serious condition. And there was a huge police response to go and find these snipers. I think they caught 1 and they suspect there's another 2 out there. This is day 1. This is the first day since that threat was made, and we've already had 2 casualties and 1 serious injury. from a small fire that was made, and we're not in the drought season yet. So what do you think is going to happen when the rainfall stops during the drought season, and then the government needs to increase reservoir services to cover for these dry lands, the lack of precipitation, and then the IRGC start messing with the water system, i.e. they might put something in the water in these big reservoirs so that that water cannot be used. Now, a lot of people will speculate that this will poison millions of people. I don't think it will. The services that control those reservoirs have sensors in the water. If that water drops below a certain drinkable level, they don't send it out. But nonetheless, it cannot be used. So it means all it will take to destroy that water reservoir system is for one guy to get in and put something in the water that disperses and ruins that body of water, and it will be unusable. So it may as well empty. It may as well be empty. And if this happens to many different reservoirs during the drought season, then we're looking at a problem where there is no water available to put fires out, and there is no drinking water for the civilian population. And this is exactly what is described in the Reliance of the Traveller and in the Quran of the Muslims as the tactics of the modern jihadis. This is what they do. They militarize their civilians in order to attack our civilians. They don't want to tangle with the army, so they're not going to fight that way. That means when our militaries go there, or America's military goes there and takes out their targets, we are the guys that get punished for that. Civilian casualties is the only kind of casualties they care about, and it's because they are fighting an information war. They want you and I and everybody else to support their cause and turn on our own nations and governments. That's the jihad, right? So that's what they're going to be doing now, and I would say to you, be ready for it, because this 100% is, okay, not 100%, I can't confirm, but 99.9% this will happen. You can see here in these charts from drought.gov, this is another linked government agency, also with the remit of doing nothing but weather research, and telling us when the bad weather or the harsh weather is going to appear. So you can see here, like I said before, June 1st to the end of August this year, that is when they're expecting this drought season. You can see on the heat map here, the red area, the orange areas, that's where it's going to affect people the most. And the only places that have any rainfall potential whatsoever is the eastern green area on the map, where you can see Florida right at the bottom there, that kind of little turtle leg hanging down. And then there's a few areas on the left-hand side, which are getting the tiniest amount. But that's probability of above normal precipitation. The precipitation in that area normally is close to zero. So all they're saying there is a possibility in those areas of getting slight rainfall. But in the areas which have deep red and orange, those normally have very high temperatures and large amounts of drought. And there's a probability that's going to be above normal. So it is not looking good if those reservoir services are affected by terrorist attacks. So what are you supposed to do if you are in one of these affected areas, specifically in America, but this can count for British people and Europeans. We have this coming as well. Don't make any mistake that this only affects America. This affects all non-Muslims. And the worst affected countries, Israel, America, Britain and European nations, because we are part of the Big Satan Club. If you're a Muslim, that's what they call us. Big Satan, Little Satan is Israel. So we definitely have this coming down the road in the next few months to a year. And in America, they're right on the cusp of this. This is a few weeks away. So what can you do to make sure that you are ready for enhanced drought conditions, lack of availability of water, and panic within the fire service and the infrastructure of your country? Well, you can look ahead and know water prices will go up, supply will drop. Shops will be empty and they'll be full. People will behave badly and they'll be stepping over each other to try and buy up that last supply of water. So if you are smart, you will get out early tomorrow and you will make provision for your family. You will buy water and you will store it in a dark, dry place, where it will keep well. You'll keep it securely and you'll make sure you have enough for like 3 or 4 weeks or something like that. That's the amount of time it will take for America's military and government to repair the damage or safeguard themselves from future attacks and catch the people responsible. So what does a month's worth of water look like for a family of 4, for instance, 2 adults and 2 children? Well, if you think about it like this, you're going to need cooking water, you're going to need drinking water, you're going to need washing water, you might even need toilet water, although we can probably assume that even if water is contaminated, it will be okay to use for toilet water. So I wouldn't necessarily say buy toilet water, but the other 3 cases, definitely you will. So you will need 5 to 6 litres per day for 2 adults and 3 to 4 litres per child per day. Right, so how much is that? 5 to 6 litres per adult times 2, 10 to 12 litres for the couple of you. And 5 to 6 litres per child is 10 to 12 litres for the children. So you will need 25 to 30 litres of water per day for a family of 4 minimum. Think about how much water that is and how much space that's going to take up, how difficult that will be to carry from one spot to another, because I can tell you now, I've been doing this for a while. You try carrying a 5-litre bottle of water up 3 flights of stairs. It's not a lot of fun. So what I would advise you do is you get it done now. Get friends to help you. If you have a wife or a husband who can help you, and children, get them all helping you. And what you want to do is make sure you buy 30 litres or so of water for a day. And that means if you're doing 10 days, you need 300 litres of water. Now, it's just a fact of life. It's not fun. You're not going to have a lot of fun dragging 300 litres of water in bottles and storing them underneath your house or in a cupboard. But like I say, better safe than sorry. This is definitely coming. I'll tell you why I think it's definitely coming. The IRGC have been planning this, like I say, for a long old time. And they know the best way to take down a civilian population and ruin morale is to have them living in fear. How do you have someone living in fear? You put them under stress. How do you cause stress? You take away food, you take away water, you take away medicines, you insert the threat of physical harm over the top, and you cause confusion by spreading propaganda and misinformation with Twitter, TikTok, Facebook, YouTube, those kind of social platforms. That's what we're seeing. It's exactly what we're seeing. So all that information's out there, making you panic, making you confused, not giving you any advice, but telling you why you should be terrified. It's not telling you what to do, it's telling you what not to do, what's going to happen is bad. There's no good advice out there. And it's up to you to safeguard yourself and your family by being proactive now. And even though it's not a very nice thought, trust me, it's a better thought than running out of water for 10 days. So, like I say, get yourself some water supplies. 30 litres a day for a family of 4, minimum, probably 50 litres a day would be better to give yourself some luxury. And other people who you know will not be doing this, so they will be running out of water. And guess what they're going to be doing when they see that you have water? They're going to be knocking on your door every single day saying, please mate, can I have some? And asking to beg water off you. It's going to happen. I'm absolutely sure it's going to happen. It's happened before and it will happen again. Plus, if you're an IRGC sleeper agent living in America, what is the least risky, most easily affected, least likelihood of you being caught terrorist attack that you can do? Sneaking into a reservoir in the night and just dropping something in the water that ruins the quality of the water. Then you can sneak away without even being caught, and you have completed a minor jihad of a large size. And you will be lauded as a hero by other Muslims, especially the imams, and you have plausible deniability. Even if someone saw you, you can say it was dark. How do you know it was me? You can have other Muslims give you a false alibi to say, well, I was actually at home with my wife. And they do this. We know from reading the Reliance, this is what they do. So in conclusion, before this video gets too long, do not waste a second. Get out there as soon as you can, today if possible, or tomorrow morning early. Fill up your car with water, do 2 or 3 trips if you must. Make provision for a safe spot in your house which is dark and dry and secure. Count up with a calculator how much fresh water you're going to need to include bathing, cooking and drinking water. Like I say, probably don't need to think about toilet water, but I don't know where you live or the terrain or the conditions where you live. So a roundabout guide of what you're going to need is 30 litres per day of water between a family of 4, 2 adults and 2 children, minimum. That's 300 litres for 10 days. That's a week plus spares for your neighbours. So get out there, make sure you're prepared. And don't think this is the only thing they're going to do. This is the first wave. This continues until the Ayatollah, the IRGC and the Islamic Jihad are completely destroyed down to the last man. That's how they play the game. They're not like us. They won't see the reason in surrendering. They will not see the reason in giving up. Even if there's only like 3 of them left and they've been conclusively beaten, those 3 will try to take down as many of us as they can and cause as much chaos and destruction and death in Western countries as they possibly can. And we know this because they have been telling us for centuries that this is what they were going to do. And we have idiots like the Ayatollah broadcasting it on his Twitter account. So, like I say, make sure you're not caught out, especially if you live in those areas in America which will have a drought season. Be prepared, make provision for your friends and neighbours, and make sure you get through this unscathed. Okay, so that's the end of this video. I hope you enjoyed that and you learned something. God bless you all, and I'll see you lovely people in the next one. Bye now. So that's all for now. Probably do more in the future, but in the meantime, check back on previous Without Lies Islam Dies videos. There are 2 whole years of Quran and Reliance readings from me. In the meantime, God bless you all. Have a lovely day, stay safe, and I'll see you lovely people in the next one. Bye now. Bye bye bye.